7 minutes after 9 o'clock. It is time for In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin is in the studio. Carol Ann is a master gardener, and you might want to tap into her expertise and her understanding of how the plants grow out there or indoors, if you have an indoor. I have an indoor apple orchard going on here. Good morning, Carol Ann. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. Real good.
Let me give the phone number real quickly if you'd like to call in. First of all, it is 622-9622. It works out to 622 WOCA. Please call anytime during the show. You can interrupt us. I will let Carol Ann know with a hand gesture that there is somebody waiting on hold. Just hang in there, and she'll take your call when she's done with whatever thought she's expressing. The other thing was we don't screen the call, so when you call, it'll just click over and you'll be able to hear what's going on the air, but you won't be on the air until Carol Ann says,
till I says, hey.
You're on the air.
Says good morning or something.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
Good. Can you just look over there in that little pot? Look at all those little baby apple trees going.
Look at all those seedlings going.
I've become obsessed with this. Have I
have you crossed over the line or something like that?
Is this something that happens to people? Is this how gardening starts?
It is, actually.
Yeah?
It is one of those little things of starting and having success. You know, those little successes start to grow into bigger successes.
Interesting thing that you say that, because see, the first one is my motivator.
Right.
Because I've had some that started and then fizzled out like a bad firework.
Right.
Yeah.
But the one continues to go, continues to grow, continues to thrive. So it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I have two more. If I have anybody out there that wants to be a guardian of the apple tree seedling.
There you go. Actually, there's 3 up here. There's one on the other end.
Well, I don't want to get the big one away.
No.
Oh, there's 3 little ones?
There's 3 little ones,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you would like one, they're worth about 48 cents. So it's a big prize.
Yeah. It's a pot price. But I mean that is, and that's it. Gardening successes is what gets people hooked. You know, and even sometimes the failures. You know, you try to do something and, it didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. Or
really?
I put in 10 cuttings and I got 1. Well, guess what? I'm going to try again. Maybe I did it the wrong time of year, or, started seed. Well, I had this pack of seed laying around, and we started it with the kids, and only 2 came up, or none came up. Well, you know what? That was a goof because it was old, or whatever, but you try it again. And,
but does the sunflower thing you told us about last week, does that last long, or is that a short-lived plant?
It's an annual, so it does its thing over a period of just a couple months.
Just grows very big, and then dies,
very big, very quickly, and then you harvest your flower, and you're done. I mean, there's other sunflowers out there that put on multiple flowers, very pretty. They can. The fun thing with sunflowers is that the flower faces the sun. So it's
that
is kind of neat, and they are very quick growers. And there's all kinds of different sizes. There's little short ones, multi-branched, lots of flowers. Flower size obviously is going to depend on the size of the plant. A lot of times, some are very small flowers. Others are, like I say, the mammoth giants, which have an edible seed. The plant gets 12 feet tall at least,
so with
about a 12-inch wide flower.
So the sunflower seed you buy like to eat in the convenience store, they come from the mammoth one?
The gray ones, they're coming from that's a gray stripe, or mammoth gray stripe.
And is there anything more to it than just simply harvesting them? Or
you toast them. You put them in the oven.
Oh, okay.
You do.
The things you buy in the store, they're already toasted?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The ones are salted and they've all been toasted or processed. I mean, you can eat them raw. They just are a little more. They're not crisp. I guess you'd say, or it's a different kind of crisp. It's a green crisp versus a toasted crisp. But you can even grow the black seed ones for the birds. I mean, now the birds will go after your other ones too. But if you buy the black oil ones, I guess those are a little healthier for the birds, or they like them more.
Oh, really?
Those are the ones that you find in the bird seed. And a lot of times, if you feed the birds regularly, you will find these growing underneath your bird feeders, or in the areas where maybe they're taking and flying over to a little branch, eating the seed, and some are dropping there. So It's always kind of
Do you know
fun.
what was interesting? Out in the parking lot here at the Paddock Mall,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a twig or whatever growing up through the parking lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
through the asphalt.
Now, how long has that seed been down there? This
Maybe not that long, because
Really?
for the sake, the crack happened first. So the seed may have blown
you think
into
that's
that
what
crack,
happened?
or
Oh,
it got
okay.
washed into it with
Okay.
stormwater and things like that.
I
And
was
so
thinking-
finally it came up,
Okay.
got a.
I thought the plant created the crack.
No, probably not. More than likely, the plant was advantageous. Just like the air plants and things like that blow through the wind, they just attach to a little crevice on a bark on a tree, and there they will stay. Same mistletoe, same kind of thing. That certain plants, and certain plants are spread. That's exactly how they are spread. And when people talk about invasive or exotic species that have come in and how they become invasive, is not that it leaves your yard because you mow everything and you keep yours clipped back and things like that. It's that a bird or other animal passing through either consumed some seed or whatever, or picked it up on their fur or feathers and flew elsewhere or went elsewhere, groomed, ate seed, whatever, and dropped the seed part that begins to grow later.
Oh, neat.
And so that's
Neat how it works,
that's
doesn't it?
how that begins to go on. And some things, like just as an example, the air potato has the little aerial baubles, the potato on it, and those drop and bounce and roll. And so it may be, that there was one, and the next year, it created 35 of those on one vine, drop, bounce, roll, 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 so it spreads a little further. Unattended, it grows up, drops more, bounce, roll, 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 and it continues to go. And because those vines will go to the top of a tree, you figure if it bounces, when it falls, it can, get quite a bounce.
So I have a question for you, and it's
roll.
going to be impossible to answer because there's probably more than one answer.
Okay.
But I saw a huge tree around here, and it looked like it was really two trees, but with one top.
Okay.
If you look to the bottom, it looked like two trunks that went into the ground.
Okay.
And then if you follow the trunks up, it was two separate trees, but it almost was like one of them had the left half and the other one had the right half, so that when you stood back and looked at it, it was like a beautiful big tree.
And it could be what has happened when they were saplings, when they were small, they touched somewhere and one overtook or healed around, just like a wound. Then it may have been a wound, the wind and everything. And of course, those maybe watching the video can see what I'm doing. But Larry can see where, the two limbs, my fingers are rubbing together, took the bark off of one more severely, and the other one just healed it around.
Amazing,
and to
isn't it?
where they actually are attached, whether or not they're sharing much cambium layer or anything like that, probably not really, but they are now one tree. Even though they could be separated and we both survive.
Really neat.
Almost like a Siamese, that they could be detached, and sometimes you'll see that one half of a tree dies but not the other half, and so it may have even been something similar like that.
So we're in the, summer begins technically, I think, in 2 days?
Right, on Thursday.
Something like that?
Yeah, on the 21st.
So is there kick off anything in the gardening world?
Not necessarily, no, because our temperatures are already quite warm. Nighttime temperatures have actually been staying warm. I guess there's actually yesterday, there wasn't really any call for rain for our area, but I understand that Dunellen, I think in that area, I think it was Dunellen area, got a really heavy rainstorm. I never got a lick. And occasionally, it looked like it might in the late afternoon, but nothing came of it because I kept going, do I need to turn the wheelbarrow upside down? It's got 2 bags of soil in it. Do I need to go out there? And I didn't. So it didn't rain. I got lucky. Yeah, it's just that this time of year we might be looking a little more forward towards what we might be looking at in the fall, because you know me, it's already okay. It's June. Come 1st of July, I'll be talking about cold weather.
Yeah, I know
you know
will.
me.
I know.
But right now
yet.
you're not really starting anything for that fall garden. But you might be thinking about it. You might have drug your catalogs back out, bring them up on the top. It's too hot to be outside in the hot afternoon. Grab those catalogs, just like we do in the wintertime when it's too cold to go outside, and get going through there and seeing what you're needing. Go through if you're needing more seed. Remember that if you buy it retail, locally kind of thing at from the big box stores, usually come say July or whatever, those seed racks vanish. They poof, suddenly you were in one day and I didn't buy them today. I'll get them, Friday when
fast,
I go.
huh?
And next thing you know, those seed racks are they're gone. And part of it is a matter of space or just timing as retail market changes over seasonally what needs to be, what goes on through. So
we're up against the break. We went a little bit long, actually. Probably my fault because I started late. So do we have something we need to give away?
We do have something we need to give away. We've got 2 tickets, a $69 value for a pair of tickets for this Friday's showing, 6:30 showing of the Paranormal Circus, however you say that, at the Livestock Pavilion. So when you call in here during the break, we just need your full name, and you've got 2 tickets for this circus.
There you go. So you can call right now, 622-9622. We'll take your call during the break. You will not be on the air. And if we don't answer the phone, that means you didn't win.
There you go.
But if we pick the phone up, that means you've got the tickets. And it sounds something very different. It's rated R, by the way.
Okay, it's not a children. It's not
just
bring
so
the
you know.
kids.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's one of those. So it sounds fun.
Older teens maybe.
Yeah.
I
think it says 18 on there. So.
Oh, it could. Well, that they're not. Yeah, they're not.
I'm not sure what it just says actually.
Right.
But anyway,
it says rated R.
You get the picture what this is about. So give us a call if you'd like the 2 tickets. 622-9622. We'll be right back.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Friends, countrymen, tourists, and Ocalans, lend me your ears. Hey, speaking of ears, there is an opportunity for you to help feed and provide good maintenance, housing, and medical care for Marion County's rescued big cats, bears, monkeys, and other disabled or unreleasable wild and exotic animals. Take a tour on Wednesdays or Saturdays of the Endangered Animal Rescue Sanctuary. Call 352-266-2859. The Endangered Animal Rescue Sanctuary is affectionately known as EARS.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-368-6704. 800-368-6704. 800-368-6704. That's 800-368-6704.
All right, thank you. 21 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's return to Carol Ann Baldwin in the garden with Carol Ann. By the way, your phone calls are welcome, and congratulations to Lorraine. Lorraine won the tickets.
Yeah. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Have a good time. And it does say, on the paper, it was, that, the show is directed towards adults. So, I mean, I probably would use discretion, and as I said, basically nobody under 13.
Did you ever sneak into a theater before you were of age to see a movie?
No, never snuck in.
Really?
I just went in and paid for a ticket.
Well, I don't. Okay.
I don't think there was as many R-rated movies out when
Yeah, there were.
when I was
Easy
I don't think
Rider.
so. That was actually before me. Sorry.
Do you know that might have been? Yeah, that was before you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think they didn't have that rating system. I think they were called M, like mature audiences.
No, M didn't come out till because mature is actually over 18.
Okay.
That's strictly no one under the age of 18.
When I say
but there was
snuck
no
in-
PG-13. There was G,
Right,
PG,
right.
and R. I don't think I snuck in. I think when I
Well-
went to see an R-rated movie, I just went and paid for a ticket. Nobody asked. But then again, I was probably 15 or 16
Really?
when
See?
I went.
Now I don't mean we didn't pay.
Right.
We did pay, but
Yeah.
what I mean by snuck in, you're not allowed to be in there if you're under
Right,
17.
right.
And I used to go into New York City,
Right.
because I didn't want anybody who knew me to see
that
me
you were
coming
going
out of
the
a theater. Yeah, with a rated R movie. in it,
Right.
Yeah. Because back in those days, there was only one movie per theater. You didn't have like 10 screens.
Trying to think. I think we may have had a twin in my town. I think maybe.
But in Manhattan,
Or
there
it was that
district.
they would play two different movies during the matinee might have been the PG
Right.
movie and the R
Right.
movie
Right.
was in the evening kind of thing. But however that went, I don't recall. But you presented me with an article when I came in this morning, and I'm having a hard time. I was trying to bring it up because, like you said, some
It's
of
a
the
plant.
some of the text has been overrun by the pictures
Yeah.
or whatever
Didn't
in
line
it.
up.
But it wouldn't let me bring it up.
What's it called again? What's the plant called?
Where is it?
But it's a plant that can give you third-degree burns.
It's called a giant hogweed. Yes, it's a chemical burn, is what it is.
Isn't that amazing?
And actually, there's the agaves and things like that can do that too.
Really?
I don't know if they'd be third degree, but this one is a noxious giant. The headline of the article is "Giant Horror Plant That Causes Third-Degree Burns Has Spread to Yet Another U.S. State.
Yeah.
Do not touch."
What state does it say?
It's in Virginia. So I'm kind of surprised, that maybe it needs colder weather. According to the reports, the Massey Herbarium at Virginia Tech, about 30 of these towering plants have been found in Clark County, Virginia, and locals are warned to keep an eye out for them. It's the sap in it is very, very toxic. How would you call that? Very, very,
Caustic.
Caustic. That's the word. Is that So it's something that you don't want to get it in your eyes. It's a huge plant. They can, unless you're unfamiliar with this nasty secret, you might think the giant hogweed looks cool. These large plants can grow to more than 14 feet tall, 4 meters, spreading their huge leaves and producing massive umbrella-like clusters of white flowers.
Wow.
It's one of those, and the plant does. It's very attractive. The leaf actually looks, I would say, similar to a papaya. Just what I'm seeing here, because I tried, it wouldn't let me bring it up for some reason. I typed in the whole thing, except maybe the HTTP.
What if you just Google the name of the plant? Would that?
Maybe it might bring me up. Yeah, it might bring me
What's
up.
it called? A giant hogwort?
Giant hogweed.
Hogweed.
Yes.
All right, let's see what you get.
Giant-
You do have somebody waiting on hold, by the way.
Okay.
So you have a chance.
We'll go. Giant hogweed. Ooh, it actually says, there's even one that says Florida, so I'm clicking on that one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We might
Oh,
have
that's
some.
noxious weed. Where does it grow? Hogweed. Maybe I'll just go to this one. Oh, here's the, I think here's one of the articles. USA Today. It's on all kinds of.
Which may be where I got it from.
Yours actually says Science Alert, so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But there's Newsweek, USA Today, Fox 5 DC, Noxious Weed, Local 10. So I'm just gonna pick out one because I think the one the Florida one I think is just USDA. So what's our caller? So while I'm playing with this
All
for
right,
a minute,
let's go to the phone. Good morning.
Sure.
Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on the air with Carol Ann. Are you there? Oh, they left.
Oh, did you leave me? Oh,
All right. I'm sorry. We
that's
took
all
too long to
right.
get to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is one that is really pretty rough. And let me see if I can get a little more information on it. Where does hogweed grow? According to the DC, the toxic plant grows in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Virginia, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So kind of a kind of an odd distribution there, because you almost, you got Mid-Atlantic with Maryland and Virginia, and then you skip over, over a few states up into, the upper Atlantic, northeast Atlantic area, and then way over to the West Coast. It was introduced. Let me see. I'm going to go back, see if I'll pick up another article here. Just keep going through some articles.
It's amazing how we could be hurt by things we don't know what we're messing with.
Very true. And actually, like I said, agaves and things like that. Somebody on a Facebook blog that I go to and I visit, somebody the other day had hit their agave with the weed whacker, and now has serious rash, burn like blisters and stuff on their legs, and they're going, what caused this? And that's what it is. The saps from those can be very caustic. You wear long pants, long sleeves, you wear gloves with them. Even just, kind of getting scratched. Sometimes you'll end up little a line of little, kind of rashy, itchy, depending on how much, or how sensitive you can be to certain plants. People don't realize there was another one that was saying, hey, I got all these elephant ears coming up in my yard. I've heard that I can eat some. Don't eat anything. You don't know what it is.
Yeah, really.
Because some of those, they claim that they can all be consumed. You got to just process it. If you want the edible variety, which I believe is called malanga, go buy a malanga root, plant it somewhere that you know where it is, maybe a large pot, so you can keep it contained and not have anything else invade that area that's not the same thing. Because your run-of-the-mill elephant ear, the bulb down in the ground, you do that, there's another one that's a very astringent, or I'm trying to think of the other word for that, but again, that's going to set you possibly to the hospital or emergency room for trying to consume that without proper preparation. But how many people really are going to go through all of that? If you want the actual one that's edible, buy the one that's edible and plant it.
Wow.
And you can probably find them in, that are viable in a market.
All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back. Remember, this is a full hour show, so Carol Ann is here for another half hour, and we invite you to call in. The number is 622-9622. We'll be right back in about 3 minutes. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. The Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy on immigration continues to draw fire in the face of viral images and audio. That's said to be a child at a border detention facility in Texas, provided by ProPublica. The president blaming Democrats, his personal attorney Rudy Giuliani on Fox Business.
Everybody's looking for a campaign issue, but maybe they could put kids aside and get that solved legislatively.
Democrats like House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi say the president can keep families together if he wanted.
This is a humanitarian issue. It's about the children. It's also about people seeking asylum.
And British prosecutors testifying an ISIS supporter was days away from plotting a suicide bombing targeting their prime minister when he was stopped in November. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because whether updating appliances in existing properties or building new construction, save with up to 35% off select appliance special values. Or save $228 on a 4-piece suite of GE kitchen appliances chosen just for pros. Now for $1,378. So Pro, now that you know, let's get started. Offers valid through 6/19 on select items only. More exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Dad, what are you doing?
Cramming for college.
I'm the one going to college.
Yeah, but we need to figure out how we're going to pay for it all.
Discover Student Loans.
Discover does student loans?
Yeah, they're one of the top student loan lenders in the country. It takes 15 minutes or less to apply, and there are no fees for the life of the loan. Best of all, I can earn cash rewards if I get good grades.
Really?
Yeah, we still have time to apply and get a great rate.
So I can just chill. College kids still say that, right?
No one says that, Dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply.
If you're looking for some summertime color for your yard, then your first stop should be Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. How about a half-price sale on oleander? Yes, oleander. A huge selection of colors, regularly $24.99, just $12.99. Also at great savings, these favorites including Alamanda, Black-Eyed Susan, Gardenia, Sun Patience, Agapanthus too. And inside their old-timey greenhouse, hundreds of money-saving decorating ideas, including a new selection of bird bath fountains and pottery, garden flags, wind chimes, and much, much more, all at 10% off. Don't forget 20% off the red tag sale on hundreds of trees this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, just east of Lake Weir Avenue. Daily till 4:30, Saturdays till 3, the same blooming location since 1952.
I think we missed our cue, Carolyn.
Oops, we weren't paying attention. I'm too busy reading a little more about it. But it comes from the Western Asia, the same plant, and it was actually, here we go again, people collecting things.
Yeah.
It was probably brought around or moved around the world by those working in botanical gardens. Not unknowingly, unwittingly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's not. I'm not seeing anything where it's here. But you can look up just Google search giant hogweed, and you're going to get several different articles, but basically, or several different sources, pretty much for the same article.
Yeah, just be careful with it. Yeah. Are you ready for a phone call?
Sure.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Say, my wife won a couple of tickets to the R-rated circus this weekend, but because it's R-rated, she won't let me go, so she's going with a girlfriend.
No children allowed, huh?
What's going to be there, but it sounds kind of interesting. But anyways, I won something here a couple of weeks ago. We had that contest on the most terrible gardening experience, and I happened to be one of the winners.
Yeah.
For Bob Wines, and I want to thank you and the station and everybody involved there. I went over to Bob Wines and I picked up my Camellia. And, wonderful experience. Very nice people there. They got these little golf carts, and this woman took me for a little bit of ride way back where the Camellias were located, and had a choice of picking out one of them that was a very nice selection out there, and so I got my Camellia, and then I bought a bag of the recommended soil fertilizer mix and instruction sheet here, how to plant it and take care of it, and it was a wonderful experience. I can see, that place has been there since 1952, and I would imagine back then it was like out in no man's land, and that was the only thing there. But now it's surrounded by homes and subdivisions and stuff. It's kind of interesting how it's still there, and it's a wonderful place to visit. It's a little treat in itself just to go through there and look at all the wonderful stuff they have.
Oh, certainly, and you're right. That had to have been back in '52. That there probably was very little down that area, and that the area built up around them, and so it's sort of like almost like a little hidden treasure, because they're not right on the main road. They're off on a side road. That was probably at that time it was probably a cut through.
Maybe
from going across without having to go through Ocala to get out towards. Maricap, would that be? Going towards Maricap, And so, I'm sure they could tell you all kinds of stories on how that grew up and things like that. But, the Camellia Gardens there that Bob Wine Sr. was, I think did some of the breeding of those as well, and some of those varieties that he has, or that they have now. It's pretty, so anybody looking for camellias anytime, and I do, I refer people, because you figure in the big box stores, we carry a very limited and seasonally, strictly seasonally, supply or variety of them. And so when you're looking for something different or unique, hit your, for the camellias, go see Bob Wines, and some of your other items, just go, hit your smaller mom and pop nurseries kind of thing. They can carry some of those other more fun kind of plants, as I call them.
Yeah, I picked out a camellia that was it was going to have full sun, and most of them prefer a shady location. Correct. But the one that they recommended, it's spelled Sasanqua, or whatever it is.
Sasanqua. That's Sasanqua.
And it does well in a sun location, and it's interesting. The instructions here, planting it and this and that, where they like the root ball top of it should be at least 2 inches above the surface, because the roots need to have a lot of air and breathing, which is unusual.
Right.
And it looks like it needs a lot of water. It says to set a hose next to it and let it dribble for 20 minutes for the first month, and then after that every 3 days, and so on and so forth. So it looks like it might be kind of a touchy plant, but now they bloom what, in spring?
Normally winter months. Sometime, depending on the variety, camellias will begin to bloom, I want to say like November, and run through like March, but it depends on the variety of when they start and when they finish up. But yeah, they're a cooler season, so it's kind of one of those plants that'll bring color into the landscape in the wintertime.
Yes. Are they pretty hardy now for
cold spell? Sure. Yeah, extremely hardy for our area. Sometimes we'll get a bad spell where the bloom will be damaged, but the plant itself is not.
Yeah, I know according to the instruction sheet, it says the bloom here is 90% water, and it needs to be moist throughout the season,
Well, yeah, they don't, because it's usually one of those kind of plants. I've seen them bloom with absolutely no care whatsoever, and that they still bloom like crazy. It's the only concern I have is the thing of setting a hose on a dribble. That's keeping that soil extremely wet, and it can actually take away oxygen out of that out of that ground, and leaving that root ball up out of the ground about 2 inches is great, as long as you're putting your mulch up against that. I would still put my mulch and just go out daily that first week or so, and you're watering that circle just where that root ball is, because your mulch will act or make a little berm of soil or something like that around as your saucer, and fill that full of water. I mean, I know that they're the pros on the camellias, but that just kind of bothers me, because we have a tendency to forget, or what we think of as a dribble is a lot more water than what they're figuring. They have them on an automated system that's probably watering them daily, no matter what, and you can water them daily. And they're saying the first month, I would say daily on the first, especially we're in our rainy season, or should be starting to get some rain. It has slacked off a bit. That first week of every single day of going out there with probably 2-3 gallons of water, and just slowly let that water down through there. The next week you're cutting that back to just about that same amount of water, just a couple days less during the week for the next 2 weeks. So we're still going that month, but just I don't like the idea of just setting a hose on the ground.
How large of a plant will that eventually be?
I'm not sure the variety, but they are what they consider a large shrub or small tree, normally to about 8 feet, maybe 10.
Okay.
So not massive. I mean, in a shrub size, that's a pretty good sized shrub. But if it's up into a single trunk, or if you begin to prune it up into a single trunk, or multi-trunks, a more tree form, it's a nice small tree in that sense.
Yeah. I want to thank you again for your contest, and Bob Wines. I was kind of surprised I won, and I was really thrilled about it. And going to Bob Wines, it was not my first experience, but I always love going there. I think it's one of the nicest nurseries you can really go to, and the whole situation was really nice. So I want to thank you and WOCA and everybody involved very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and congratulations, and thanks for participating.
Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this one we can do that. And as much as we talk about Bob Wines, it's amazing how many people have never gone.
True. And it's, and
they let you go and just walk around the
and
garden.
just, it's not, you don't have to buy anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
you will.
You may, or you may come back with somebody else and go, okay, what do you think? I saw this and this and this.
Right.
What do I really want to do here? And and there are people that are knowledgeable. And that's another thing that's nice about your independent nurseries / garden centers versus a box store. Is that the people working there do know what they're showing you, because that is what their job is. You get into a big box store and they're also selling you block, and they're also selling you fencing, and they're also selling a nursery's generally selling you plants, and that's what everybody's there to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but I must say the store you work for is lucky to have somebody like yourself. The customers are the lucky ones.
Yeah. So it's it's one of those occupation of passion, so it works for me on that. But if you're what was I getting ready to get into? That giant hogweed just keeps making me. It's got me. It's got that whole thing going. Oh wow.
I had a question about exhaust.
Sure.
It's about car exhaust.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever seen a plant that's like on the side of the driveway that is really distressed? Mm-hmm. Is that from the car exhaust?
It's from the carbon monoxide,
I wondered about that.
Yeah, it is. And some plants, I've even seen articles where there's, that's one reason you don't plant a whole lot right up against a driveway is because you may be leaving your car running for a few minutes while it warms up on a cold morning. And things like that, and that exhaust, you'll begin to see a decline on that side because it's carbon monoxide blowing out there. Plus, it's hot. The temperature there, the heat of the exhaust is also a factor in that. And so when you're thinking about landscaping beside your driveway or anything, you may think about stepping back a little further or making it more lower plants that aren't going to be in that line of the exhaust and things like that.
I seem to remember we had a story once about a radar field that was causing some plants to die. Does that
radar,
like the line of fire for a radar, whatever radars do. They send the signal out and bounces back.
Bouncing back and things like that. Oh, there's different kinds of things. I think I've even heard of where the solar ones have started grass fires and things or something that I'm not real sure how that how reliable that is, or if that was just one of those things that go and this is what can happen as someone who's just negative against solar kind of thing. Anything can be an issue of where do where you clean out your sprayers, where where your air conditioner drip goes to is going to be a little bit more of a wet spot, kind of thing. That you may have one weed that only grows right there, or the plants that are right there are either thriving fantastically or not doing as well because the soil's more wet. There's all kinds of different things within our mini microclimates that can be an issue. If you have new construction on your house and you're putting shrubberies and things in, you got to remember to step far enough away from the house. One, because you don't want the plants brushing up against the house. You need to be able to get up between them to maintain your home, whether it's painting, washing the siding, anything like that. But also, concrete foundations leach lime, changing the soil pH significantly enough that plants don't survive or they fail to thrive and they just look kind of puny. Same thing with if you're put in a new slab, out on a patio area, realize don't plant too close to them for that same thing, that they have lime that is an alkali, and the probably even part of the alkalinity, or is the alkalinity changing that pH, making an issue had especially plants that are more acid loving, but all plants prefer a slightly acidic soil.
Acid loving plants.
Acid loving plants.
Those hippies. Those hippie
that's
plants.
A bunch of hippies on that. Sure
All right,
is.
we're up against the next break. Let's take that break real quickly. If you want to call in, there's 15 minutes left in the show. The number to call is 622-9622. We would love to hear from you, and we'll be right back.
Friends, countrymen, tourists, and Ocalans, lend me your ears. Hey, speaking of ears, there is an opportunity for you to help feed and provide good maintenance, housing, and medical care for Marion County's rescued big cats, bears, monkeys, and other disabled or unreleasable wild and exotic animals. Take a tour on Wednesdays or Saturdays of the Endangered Animal Rescue Sanctuary. Call 352-266-2859. The Endangered Animal Rescue Sanctuary is affectionately known as EARS.
Did you get your tickets yet to see the paranormal acrobats of the air, illusionists, freaks, mysterious creatures of all elements that make one think of a normal circus? But that of normal has very little. Get ready, Ocala. Paranormal Cirque is here now for the shows June 21st to the 24th. A crazy yet fun fusion between circus, theater, and cabaret in perfect harmony with the evolution of a dark show that brings you back to where we dreamed and when we had nightmares and fantasies. This is truly a paranormal experience like no other. So mark your calendars now. June 21st to the 24th under the black and red Big Top, located at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. Tickets start at just $20. You can get $2 off every ticket in any level with promo code WICKED. Visit ParanormalCirque.com now.
If you're looking for some summertime color for your yard, then your first stop should be Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. How about a half-price sale on oleander? Yes, oleander. A huge selection of colors, regularly $24.99, just $12.99. Also at great savings, these favorites including Alamanda, Black-Eyed Susan, Gardenia, Sun Patience, Agapanthus too. And inside their old-timey greenhouse, hundreds of money-saving decorating ideas, including a new selection of bird bath fountains and pottery, garden flags, wind chimes, and much, much more, all at 10% off. Don't forget 20% off the red tag sale on hundreds of trees this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, just east of Lake Weir Avenue. Daily till 4:30, Saturdays till 3, the same blooming location since 1952.
Thank you, Bob. 11 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's return to Carol Ann Baldwin. The show is called In the Garden with Carol Ann because that's where she is virtually right now.
That's it.
Yeah, actually in the radio station.
In the radio station, playing in the garden, all that fun kind of stuff. And as I said, at the beginning of the show, that here we are, that the first day of summer is on the 21st, and you asked, was there anything? Does that make any difference, really?
Right.
And as for us, no. But again, looking for supplies for thinking about your late summer, early fall, and your fall and winter gardens and things like that. That this time of year, that if you're in need of any of those items, this might be time to get out there to the stores. Yes, they're the same seed racks that came out in March. The dates on them are for this year. They can be stored in the refrigerator, at home, and are good for years. That most seed will keep for many, many years. There's a few out there like corn, onions, and things like that really are begin to degrade quickly, but beans and lettuce and cucumber, all of those are things that will keep for many, many years. So that package, when you're looking, you're going, oh my God, that's enough seed there to feed all of Ocala. You're only using what you need to use. So, but if you need more seed starter mix, I'd be going ahead and getting it now, because in that early spring, when we're starting seed in January or February to put out in the garden in the middle of March, those seed racks and those accessories and supplies aren't in the stores. So if you don't prepare
that's part
now,
of it.
you don't get it later. And I don't know. Most of those items do not go on clearance
so
because
it's the retail calendar. You got to pay attention to.
Exactly. It's not done to, everybody goes, well, this is Florida. We garden year round. Yes, we do. But you figure in other states, they've probably already removed them. Or, come 4th of July, they're gone. Here we at least do keep them. Sometimes it'll run longer. It just depends on space and those kind of confines that, retail has to deal
Remember the tree that France gave the White House, and the
oak tree.
They planted it,
yes.
And then they brought it out so they could plant it in June.
Right, when it would be the proper planting
So
time.
is that across the board? Like, should we plant trees now? For some reason?
For us,
they're in DC,
for us
though.
in Central Florida, if it is grown in a pot, you can plant it pretty much at any time of year. Trees, shrubs, all those things. Our biggest issue usually is if it's something we're going to pick up from this side of the yard and put it over to this side of the yard, we wait till wintertime. It's a lot less stress on the plants because it's cooler. They're not growing on the top portion of it, so it has a chance to get its roots settled and before a growing season comes in. And then it will have a whole growing season before it turns cold again. But if it's grown in a container, we can put it in at any time. Obviously, when it's as hot as it is, certain things are going to be maybe a little harder to take than others, and I have customers that come in going, well, why don't you have this plant? It's doing well in the garden now. I said, right, but it was probably established 3 months ago when it was a little bit cooler, just trying to get that plant started.
For you, right?
It's a cyclic kind of thing that you have to know. It's not necessarily what's going to bloom now isn't necessarily what you're going to plant right now. You might have planted that 2 months ago in order for it to be at its best. And of course, in the stores, they're going to sell you, and I hate to, here it is coming back on my own job, what is in bloom right now. Because many people, they look at that green plant when it's not blooming and go, okay, it's an ugly green plant. It has no potential. I don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
Or it's what it's growing because they drive through their neighborhoods and they see, in the median strip or the front entrance to their community or all what their neighbors have going, I love that flower. I want it. So they come to the store to buy it.
Right.
Well, when it wasn't blooming 2 months ago, they never saw it.
Right.
So that's how it goes through on a retail level on that. And those plants can be started and gotten in the ground, and they will grow. They will continue to thrive. And as perennials, getting them in early enough that way they get their roots settled and established. And then next spring, after they've died back, and perennials are supposed to, they're supposed to go to sleep. Covering them is not necessary. They're perennial. They're supposed to go to sleep. That's what that means, that they die back and come back.
Now, there's a heat wave predicted for the Northeast.
I think they're actually having in some areas. Somebody was telling me, I forget if she was from Michigan or upstate New York or somewhere, where it was actually 2 degrees hotter there than it was here.
Yeah, well, that was true in New York 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It was like 95.
So, yeah.
So that obviously is them and not us. But does the extreme heat... Or is the fact that we have rain almost every day the antidote for that?
The extreme heat is hard on plants. It is. It's hard on our landscape because they're going to transpire more. I mean, they sweat. They're going to let that
Really?
out of, that they take in and release moisture. I mean, that's why humidity. We're lush. Rainforests are very humid.
Yeah.
Based upon a lot of that is from the plant material and holding moisture and things in. Our rains in the afternoon give us a break, do give us a respite, and our landscapes also, especially because if they happen late in the afternoon, that 3 to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we've already had normally our hottest part of the day. That noon to 2 o'clock is usually that when that thermometer is peaking there at the top, trying to burst out of the top of that thing. We get a rain at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes, it becomes a sauna, but the temperature doesn't usually get back up there. So it does begin to cool us down for the day. But then again, when we have that issue, then we also have the problem of where we have those fungal problems coming through because of the heat and the moisture, and then as it gets dark and those plants don't dry before nighttime comes in, and so watch for fungal issues, watch for those kind of problems in the landscape.
Yeah, I imagine that's a big issue, right?
It is. In Florida, it's almost a year-round issue. So.
Yeah. And we had this subject yesterday about the difference between the North and the South, and a lot of them were funny. But one of them was about the fact that the North has a defined beginning and end to summer, whereas in the South it's kind of a gray area. It's not real defined.
It's not, and even up there, it's not fully defined because you can have a warm September.
Yeah, I was
up in the Northeast and stuff like that. But I mean, up there, usually you go Memorial Day and Labor Day. Boom! That's your beginning of your warm, season and the end of your warm season. Many of those states up there have, very short growing seasons, and they'll grow everything from their tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, all in one time, where ours stretches over, I'd say at least 9 months of the 12 out of every year. We have 3 months that aren't the best growing seasons, and that's usually because it's just too dang hot.
But still, if you want to plant a tree, do it now.
You can. Right? Yes, you can do it now without concern, especially if it's something that was grown in a pot. Any plant you buy that was potted, when you take that pot off, work those roots out. Big screwdriver to work down helps, or a sharp knife to cut through. It will make new roots.
What was amazing to me when I transplanted that apple tree,
I was just surprised
how plentiful the roots were. They were all over the place.
Yes.
They were just everywhere.
Yes.
So...
pay attention.
Probably doing it again with that pot.
Maybe not yet, but it has definitely put on a growth spurt in the last 2 months. That has, I think, probably put 6 inches on the top of that tree already. So it's happy.
I just hope I don't ruin it.
No, it's a happy little tree.
So all right, we are out of time.
Until next time.
Crank up your song again here. So do you have to work today?
No, I'm off today.
Oh, that's great.
So yes,
that's always
get some stuff done. I gotta go home and play with some plants.
Well, have fun, Carol-Ann. Thank you.
All right, Larry. Thank you.
For the listeners, remember, Carol-Ann does have a Facebook page. It's called In the Garden. Sign up, become a member, and then you can show your stuff. Show and tell. Show your plants.
Show and tell, and help us sometimes answer a question, because I don't always know. And if you have experience with something, hey, let people know.
Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Thank you, Larry.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.